Hi everyone, welcome to the Hall Wines Happy Hour. My name is Kathryn Hall. We have a very special program today. My guest is Chris Harrison, the host and producer for The Bachelor. And this program is special because Chris and I are raising money for a cause that is very near and dear to both of our hearts, the North Texas Food Bank. So let's bring on Chris now. And I think I see him right now. Just a moment, and let me make sure I've got this. While Chris is coming, and we're going to see him in just a few minutes, let me say that and there he is! Yay!
You did. Look at us.
Hi!
Look how technologically advanced we are.
Oh, we're so good. Cheers to you. Oh my gosh, I need to give you some wine. Yeah, so
cheers to you, my friend.
Cheers to you. Wonderful. So, Chris and I, as I said before, are raising money today for the North Texas Food Bank. And we're going to do it with your help, everybody who is watching. So 10% of the proceeds of all the wine that you buy from this particular wine, this is Craig's, is going to go to the North Texas Food Bank. So, Chris, let me pass this bottle to you.
Let me reach up and grab it. There we go.
Yeah. Oh, are we good? We are so good.
And pour a little bit. There we go. Now a proper cheers.
Yeah, cheers to you, my friend. Wonderful. Yeah. And cheers to the North Texas Food Bank.
By the way, the Craig's is fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I thought Valentine's Day is coming. This is named after my honey, and we're all about a show. Your shows are all about finding love, so I thought it would be the right wine to have.
And thank you for having me, and thank you for doing this for the North Texas Food Bank. Obviously, it's something that's near and dear to both of our hearts. I just found out that you had a hand in creating the North Texas Food Bank. I'm from Dallas, born and raised. I am third generation Dallas. And so the place obviously will always hold a special kind of spot in my heart. And I have started with this amazing endeavor with Gary Patterson, the head coach of TCU, and Leon Bridges, this amazing folk singer out of Texas. And we created this organization called The Big Good. And the North Texas Food Bank has been a big fan for this entire year. During this pandemic, we did the food drive during Thanksgiving and over Christmas, and it's been huge. So to know that you've had such a big part in this and we're supporting it tonight, that's worth raising a glass for.
And to you for all you do. Thank you. So everybody, Chris has said that he is willing to answer some questions. We're going to talk more about the food bank, and we're certainly going to talk more about this wine. But ask your questions, and we'll get to as many as we can. And I'm going to start out because I have so many of my own, and I would just like to start off with this. Chris,
yes.
What is this? Heather? I mean, what is this? Did you guys just not think it was exciting enough?
Well, here's the thing, and you will hear more about this at the tell-all. But the thing with Heather is she asked us if she could come, and we said no. We said, do not come. We're not going to put you on the show. And she called later while we were already shooting, and she said, I really want to come. And we said no. And so she showed up anyway. And you saw what happened, where she is showing up at the gate and asking to come on. We have protocol and quarantine, so I sent her back to her motel, which everybody picked up on social media last night.
Yeah.
And by the way, I didn't assume she was staying at a motel, everybody. She had said she was staying at a motel. I think they cut that part out. So when I said go back to your motel, I didn't just assume that. But so she went back to her motel. Then we decided, okay, if you want to come on, let's try this. And you're going to see what will ensue. Partially last night, and then next week, you'll see what happens when Matt basically has to decide, do I want to continue this path with Heather, or do I want to lose the rest of the girls here? So very interesting.
I'm telling you, I mean, there's just like, I'm going like, and I'm sure the women watching are saying the same thing to me. So this is just so not fair.
I know. Well, that's kind of, but that's kind of one of the great things about the show, Kathryn, is that we put people in these situations where they do need to decide. And because whether it's fair or not, that's life and that's dating. And, if Matt decided, hey, you know what, Heather is the one and I want to see where it goes from here, that's his perspective and that's his decision. He will have to suffer the ramifications of that. But that is the whole point of this whole exercise is you decide how this is going to go and then you suffer the consequences. And so that's the dilemma he's going to be faced with. Or he stands up and says, Heather, these women are already very special to me. We're 2 weeks away from hometown dates. I'm going to go the other way.
Oh my, I tell you what, I'm just thinking, is there not enough drama already? It's just totally crazy.
There's never enough drama in my life. By the way, I'm watching these questions scroll through. Two things. First of all, yes, I have a ring on. No, I'm not married. But I do have a wonderful girlfriend I love very much, Lauren Zima. But we are not married. But I have a men's wedding ring line on Mainly Bands. So you can go to mainlybands.com and it's a line of the Chris Harrison collection of wedding rings and rings for men. So go check it out. That's why I'm wearing the ring. And I love these rings. I've been wearing them a bunch.
Oh, that's so sweet. And by the way, that's so appropriate that you would be doing.
Right?
Yeah, I like it. So tell me one of the things I think that Matt has done so well this season is he just seems so sort of level-headed, and he's had to deal with a lot of this bullying, which is impressive, but also leads me to this question. Does it seem to you like there's more bullying going on this season?
I'm always so careful when we throw that word around because it gets used a lot. It gets overused a lot in this day and age. There are people that are mean-spirited, say some offhanded things. I think people have to appreciate for a second, not that this, makes everything okay, but the competitiveness and the pressure cooker that is The Bachelor when you're there, it does kind of lead you to do things and say things maybe you wouldn't normally do. And I think a lot of these women fell into that trap of like, oh my gosh, as I watch this back, I can't believe the things I said and did. But that's kind of one of the great things about this show is it definitely makes you look back and think, oh my gosh, who am I? What am I doing? And sometimes it gets the best of you, and that's okay. And that's not necessarily bullying. Yes, there was some mean comments, and some people were being ugly at times. But again, that's also part of dating, and that's what Matt has to figure out. And you're right, Matt is a wonderful man, very level-headed, a very, very sweet, compassionate guy.
Yeah. Tell you what, my hat really goes off to all of the contestants on this show and all of your shows. I mean, they are so vulnerable, and
if you do it right. Yeah, if you do it right, it really does strip you down, and it really is this kind of gut check and this personal life check where you really realize who you are, what you stand for, what you're going to do when no one's looking, or what you're going to do when the cameras are on. Look, we all have this idea, Kathryn, of how cool we are. Once you see yourself on television, I found this out for many years, you realize you're not very cool. So get over yourself, just be yourself, embrace who you are, and love your life. And that's, luckily, I have gotten over that many years ago. I am who I am, warts and all. This is it.
It's so good. Okay, we are getting so many questions. Now, everybody remember that you are very welcome to ask questions, and I'm going to get one right now to Chris. Oh, let's see.
While you're looking, I will just say I also saw a lot of love out there for Leon Bridges. Guys, if you haven't heard Leon Bridges, first of all, be careful. You'll get pregnant just listening. He is this. I was just in town and I had lunch with Leon. I said, how do I describe you? I said, sometimes I say you're R&B. Sometimes I say you're soul. Sometimes I say you're a folk singer because you kind of have it all. He's like this Bill Withers, James Taylor, George Strait, Chris Stapleton rolled into one. He's such a phenomenal talent, just incredible.
So, okay, here is a question. I saw a couple of these when I just went back to look, and that is, I love these. Proposed to your girlfriend. Don't you know this? These are so good. So it is Valentine's Day coming up.
And I have a great Valentine. I love her dearly.
So a couple questions about the next Bachelorette.
Well, there was a big rumor going around that we had named the Bachelorette, or that I was going to name her at the Women Tell All that we taped last week. And I can assure you, unless they did it after I left, we did not name a bachelorette. So I'm not sure where that came from. I'm not sure why the rumor started, but I trust me when I tell you 100% did not happen. We did not, and Katie, as you saw, is gone, but she did have a hot seat. She was there, but I didn't even talk about being the bachelorette with her, nor did I discuss it with anybody. So don't know where that came from.
Oh, so interesting. Yeah. She's been really great on the show.
But she is wonderful. But we honestly, we have such an embarrassment of riches. I think this is a phenomenal group of women. I love this group of women. I know some people are like, hey, they're catty, they were toxic or whatever, but I think it was a beautiful, diverse, professional group of women that have a lot to offer.
Do you think it's been changed appreciably by the fact that you all aren't moving around on location to location?
Definitely. There's some good and bad to it, honestly, Kathryn. It's, the fact that we create this pressure cooker in this quarantine bubble, and there's an intensity and an intimacy that is really heightened because we don't ever leave. Whereas usually we're at the mansion and you get going a few weeks and we say, okay, we're going to go to Hawaii. We stop for a couple of days. You got to fly to Hawaii. Matt and I would fly separate and the girls would follow later. And so you're away from each other and you kind of have perspective and you're in the airport, you're around other people and life is happening. But when we're just at the Nemacolin Resort, that's all we're doing. We just were about Matt and just about these women, and there was no off switch. We didn't take any days off. So it definitely intensified everything.
Yeah. So to you all, a reminder now, this wine that we are drinking is Craig's Cabernet. Thank you very much.
I'll be your hype man.
Yeah, there you go. And by the way, can you hold that with your finger that shows your ring? Let's do that too. We can. Yay!
By the way, just so you know, Kathryn, I have several rings. This is the Napa. I wore it in honor of you tonight. This is the Napa because it's inlaid with actual wine barrel. So there was some thought there.
Really.
100%. There's wine barrel in this ring.
Oh, I love that.
And inlaid. So I wore it in honor of you and in honor of our night. By the way, I'm just going to pimp you out because I know you won't, but we're drinking the Craig's tonight. And if you buy Craig's, part of the proceeds are going to go to the North Texas Food Bank. But folks, when I tell you that, and I have tasted a lot of them, the entire line of Hall Cabernets and everything that, all the varietals, but I am such a fan of your Cabernets. You guys absolutely do it. When you smell it, drink it, it's Napa in a bottle and it's spectacularly done. So kudos to you.
Thank you very much, Chris. To you all, so check out, there's a link in our bio that'll take you right to the website where you can buy the Craig's and make a donation to the food bank. So now, I have a Bachelor trivia game that I thought we would play. And this is, I'm going to ask you some questions, Chris, and for every question that you get right, we are going to donate an additional $500.
Oh, wow.
Pressure.
Okay.
Okay. And if you don't know any questions, you can take help from your pals here.
Okay, so I can read in the comments below and cheat a little bit. This is great.
Yes, you can. It's all
right.
for a good cause.
So every question I get right, Hall Wines is going to donate $500 more to the North Texas Food Bank.
Done. That's the plan.
I love this. Okay, let's go.
Okay. Question 1. These are terribly tough, as you will see. Which winery did Ari take Lauren S. to for their one-on-one?
Ari took Lauren S. to Hall Vineyards.
What a surprise.
Did I get it?
Yeah, you did. I had to do that. I'm sorry. It's cheesy.
Not cheesy. That was a great date, and I remember that. And that's where you and I fell in love, and that's where we met.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Honestly, all of us were so rooting for Lauren that night. It was so sweet, and then she didn't get the rose. Oh, well. All right. Next.
By the way, wine goes just as well with breakups as it does with makeups. It's all good.
I'll drink to that. Yes. All right. Who was your youngest ever Bachelorette? Who was the youngest ever
Bachelorette? Wow, that's a good question. Claire's our oldest. Let's see,
How old was
Bachelorette.
Claire? I'm
The
curious.
39 years old. I'm trying to think how old Caitlin was. She was pretty young when we did the Bachelorette with her. I think I'm going
Come
to take a
on,
flyer here.
come on, friends.
I'm going to
Get your
say it
help
wasn't
Chris
Emily. It
out
wasn't
here.
Emily Maynard. Hannah Brown. Yeah, can we go Hannah Brown?
Bingo.
That's
Yes, Hannah Brown.
$1,000. That is $1,000
Thousand
if you're keeping
dollars.
track at home. I like this. Okay. By the way,
20.
I may have cheated a little bit in the comments section. Well done, Bachelor Nation. Well done.
Thank you, Bachelor Nation. Yeah, she was 24 by my notes. Okay, who is the only bachelor who is still with his final rose?
Sean Lowe. Married,
Yeah.
kids, doing great. Living in Dallas, by the way, a Dallas connection.
I didn't know he was in Dallas.
That's worth extra credit.
Wow, yeah. I think we need to do something.
$1,500 to the food
Let's
bank.
go.
All right.
$1,500.
We're doing
So
20
good.
of these. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. How many?
I love how many fans are getting this. I'm watching your comments. Guys, you guys are crushing this. Well done, Bachelor Nation.
This is great. How many offspring has Bachelor Nation produced?
Don't do this to me.
Okay,
So
give me a
hold on.
range.
Let's see, two. Let's see. I got, there's 5, 6, 7. Jade's pregnant again. That's 8. Let's see, 9. I'm just going to go.
Come on, guys.
Did I
Get
forget
in
a couple?
here.
I'm going to say 10. I got to be with the closest without going over. I think there's probably like 12 or 13, but I'm going to say 10 to be safe.
Let's
There's
maybe
got-
a little more.
Well, it depends.
A little more. Something maybe between 17 and 19.
Well, here's the difficult situation because Jason Molly, they had one, they had another, but it was before. We have some paradise couples, and then there's people that are married, but they got married outside of the bachelor family. So that's a tough one. So we'll let that one go. We're still at $1,500.
I think we should sort of expand that because it was a lousy question. My mistake.
There's no bad questions, only dumb hosts trying to answer them.
Okay, last question for now. Last question from our trivia thing. How many bachelors have been winemakers? Oh.
Obviously, Andrew Firestone.
Yay.
Andrew Firestone, the reason I am into wine, he started it. I knew nothing about wine or winemaking, and I went up and visited his family up in Santa Ynez, and they're famous for their wines up there. And that's how I fell in love with wine and winemaking and started learning about it. And it is an expensive habit, and I curse him every time I open a bottle.
It is, but isn't it? But
it's the best.
It is. It's a wonderful habit, and it's one that it's a lifelong learning that is really fun.
And
So
it has been one of the true loves of my life, and because we get to travel the world, as you mentioned, we were at Hall Wines. I remember for Brad Womack's season with Emily Maynard when they got engaged, it was at Ernie L's vineyard in Stellenbosch. We were just down in Argentina, and everywhere we go, we hit these different vineyards and winemaking regions of the world, and Australia and New Zealand, and I love it, and I try to take advantage of it when I travel for sure.
It is, and all of us get to experience all of that right along with you as you go. So it's what a wonderful show. So let's talk just a little bit about this wine that
Please.
we are drinking for them. So what I like to do when I'm tasting this wine, I try to look at 3 things. I look at the color first, and then the aromas, and then the flavors. And each of them I think are really important. So for me, I'm sort of getting a dark burgundy color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dark ruby red, really, you can tell it's a full-bodied wine just by the look of it.
Right. I mean, that's part of the reason I think you want to look at it is the color really gives you a sense of what you're going to get in the glass. And then on the
You know, you
nose,
with this, when it pours into the glass, you know you're stepping into the ring for a fight. This is a big boy.
it's a big boy. It is. Napa Cabernet. That's true.
Yep.
Okay, what do you think about the nose? So, I'm getting sort of dark fruit, blackberry maybe.
Just yeah, a little spice box, a little cedar to it. It's funny. If anybody could ever bottle up Napa, there's a certain smell when you smell a Napa wine, you just know it. And traveling the world, you smell a lot of wines, and then you think you got it figured out, and you're like, oh, this is similar, and then you go open a great Napa Cab, and you're just like, wow, it's only in this region, it's only in the soil that you guys work with, and yeah, I mean, it just has this sense that is Napa.
It is so well put. I think it has a lot to do also just with the California sun. I mean, there are beautiful Bordeaux wines that are made obviously in France and around the world, but so much of the world would absolutely kill for
Yeah.
California sun. They can't get the ripeness that we can get on the grapes, you know?
Well, it's if you look, as the crow flies, if you look at the map, Napa's not that far from the ocean. And so you also get these cool trade winds, these cool mornings, and a little mist, and so you get a little love from that as well. It's just this perfect blend of where it sits there in the valley.
That's right, exactly. If you can get you want a temperature that varies. So you want it to be cool so that you can have a longer hang time. It gives the grapes more time to sort of develop. But then you want the heat so that they can ripen. So it's just, Napa really is.
Well, and that's one thing that I learned, and I find it very interesting. And there are grapes you have to be gentle with, but I always thought, okay, you want this really plush, beautiful weather and rain, and so it's this great growing, and that's not it. The Firestones really explained to me is you want heat and starvation and pain and some suffering to these grapes, and so that's where I'm like, oh, I didn't understand that, and so that's why whether it's volcanic or pepper trees or the rocky terrain, you actually want these vines to struggle a little bit. And that's something I learned getting into this, that you need that to get that, the perfect intensity, if you will, to some of these grapes.
My goodness, that's very impressive, might I say.
I'm a total nerd, Kathryn. I'm a total nerd.
Wow.
I love my wines, love my winemaking, and I'm in awe of and tell me about your winemaker. Let's
Yeah.
gush on the winemaking
Oh, they are
process at Hall.
so wonderful. So we have two winemakers, our head and our assistant winemaker. Both of them have been with us for over 12 years, both women, both extraordinary, and they make these wines that are just really refined and beautiful, and I'm really, really proud of them.
Kathryn, as a woman who is an absolute boss and dominating the world yourself, can we talk about the amount of women who are the most talented winemakers in Napa? And it's not to say there's not some great men in there, but there are a lot of women behind the scenes who are phenomenal winemakers. What is it?
It is, well, it's true. They are. There's so many amazing winemakers, and this has changed really over the course of my lifetime. When I was a kid growing up, and my dad would take me to these meetings of people in the business, and it was just, there was nobody there but men.
Bunch of cowboys.
Yeah, and white men, so it is just so beautiful to see this all unfold. Let's say a few things about the food bank. I think a lot of our folks know about the food bank, but as Chris said, it is located in Dallas, and it's an organization that feeds, as all food banks do, feeds the needy. We've got, I think, over 100 million meals were distributed in North Texas alone by the food bank last year, which is just, it's a remarkable organization.
Can you go back and talk about the fact that, we know you as this amazing Napa wine owner and all that, but you were in Dallas and you helped create the North Texas Food Bank. Tell me about the origin of this whole thing.
It was crazy. It was back in the 1980s. And I have to say that in those days, we thought that we knew there was hunger, but we thought, well, we'll just create this food bank and then we'll get rid of hunger in the next couple years. And it's just, who knew that as we started sort of peeling back that onion, we just see just more and more that there are more and more people in need, and today more than ever.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head. Obviously, with the pandemic, their unemployment is up, and with that, hunger is up. And my involvement in my organization, The Big Good, with Gary Patterson and Leon Bridges, we have found there is this huge need and there is this huge hole because there are so many that are going hungry. And while we would love to take care of the world, we're trying to take care of our backyard first, and that is the North Texas Food Bank. And we fed thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands over the holidays, and need to do more. And there is still a toll to be paid for this pandemic and the lockdowns and all that. And this isn't political at all. There is just a toll to be paid, and that is there are people on the streets, and homeless is rising, and so is hunger. And so, supporting great causes like the North Texas Food Bank, whether you're buying wine, you just want to donate straight, whatever you can do, or wherever this finds you in the world, please support your local food banks, because people, there needs to be food on everybody's table, and you don't want anybody to go hungry tonight. So let's do what we can.
Cheers to you, Chris Harrison. Well said. Let's take some more questions. You all are just being so wonderful, and thank you everybody for,
What?
Oh, I've got to ask this one. This is great. The question is, why don't they ever eat food on dates?
Well, what's not sexy to look at in high definition? Someone chomping on their food. And so usually they do eat, but we don't include that. We only have so much time to sexy.
Yeah.
We usually don't use that part, but yeah, I know we always get, grief for that online. By the way, someone asked about my son. My son's down the road at TCU, enjoying his freshman year at college. And so he is good. Go Frogs, for those folks down there in Texas.
How wonderful. Yeah. Most beautiful girls at TCU, I've always thought.
I think he's enjoying his freshman year for sure.
Of course, I had nothing.
And I'm just glad they're at school, honestly. I'm glad that they were brave enough and courageous enough to say, you know what, we're going to go to school. We're going to get these kids on campus. The folks here in California decided to go the opposite direction, and they were in complete lockdown. A lot of these kids have left, and they have sought refuge at schools that are brave enough to open, and I'm glad they did it. So go Frogs.
Yeah. Okay, one last question from the folks who are watching us, and that is this. 5 more girls a couple episodes ago. I actually wondered that myself. Thank you for asking that.
Well, here's the situation. We had a record number of women apply for the show. As soon as we announced it was Matt James, we had this crazy outpouring of desire to be on the show. And there was this contentious battle. We are just like you, Bachelor Nation. We're fans, and we're all fighting for our people of who gets on the show and who's the Bachelorette, who's the Bachelor, everything, you name it. We're fighting for it as well. And there was this kind of battle of how many girls should we have, how many is too much, or what should we do? And we started the show, and we thought we also quarantined a few others because we were honestly worried that because of the pandemic, maybe someone would test positive. We were worried that they wouldn't be able to be on the show. That happened for the Bachelorette. So we were trying to be sensitive and have extras. And then we decided, you know what? Everybody's here. They've given their time. Let's just bring them on the show and let's see what happens. It definitely was throwing a monkey wrench in the works for Matt and the other ladies, but it turned out to be, I think, a good thing.
Yeah, it did. How does one get to be a contestant on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette or Bachelor in Paradise?
It's really, there's no secret formula. You go to a casting call, or obviously now we're doing things online during the pandemic, but you go, you apply online, send in your video, or go to a casting call, and then it's really just about the luck of the draw. We're looking for stories. We're looking for diversity across the country. We don't want 20 girls from New York. You want a couple from New York, a couple from Dallas, a couple from Chicago, San Francisco, Alabama. So we're trying to get this beautiful cross section of the country, and even up in Canada, of the world, of North America. And so it really is dependent on what we're looking for. And it's just the luck of the draw. If we already have 5 great girls from the South, we're just not going to add another. And so it's nothing to do with you. That's the difficult thing. You got to consider there are thousands and thousands of girls applying, and we're trying to choose 20 or 25. And so it's a difficult paring down process. And luckily I don't have to do it. Our casting department does it, and they do a phenomenal job. But we're really looking for just good stories.
Well, you certainly get great stories, I've got to say. Chris, you have been just so generous with your time. Because I have to say one more question. It's just, between you and me.
Right.
You won't have to tell anybody else, and you have no idea what I'm going to say. Yes, you do.
I'm going to pour a little bit more Craig's here.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay. Who is Matt going to choose?
Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Give that man some wine. Right.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Yeah, you know what my question is.
By the way, I don't know if you noticed the glass as well. I'm drinking out of a special Pebble Beach glass. Tough week this week. This is the week of the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. As you saw my office earlier. You and I were chatting, and I'm a golf geek. Usually I'm at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am this week, and it was canceled due to COVID restrictions here in California. So we're all going to be watching at home. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to pour some Craig's Cabernet and Lament with my Pebble Beach glass this year. So it's my best to everybody up at Pebble Beach this week. Have a great week.
Okay, I just didn't hear the answer to that question, though. Were you
I
thinking
forgot.
you could just
I'm sorry. What was that?
sidestep that?
I'm good at dodging. I can dodge and weave all night long.
Right,
You know what?
right.
On all seriousness, Matt has done a great job. I think there was a big learning curve for him. He wasn't on the show before, and I think at first it was like drinking from a fire hydrant for him. He didn't quite understand everything that was involved in this because he had never been involved in the show before, and so he kind of had to learn to run even before he crawled, and so we had to go back. But once he started compartmentalizing and realizing that how to go about this process, he really, I think, got dialed in, and he's done a phenomenal job. And I think he is set up to succeed. I think he is truly set up in a position now to succeed and find love. And I hope the best for him because he's a very good man.
So do we all. Well said. Chris, I need to let you go. Any last thoughts before you take off?
I would just like to thank you. Thank you for having me. Am I correct in that you had Julia Louis-Dreyfus on a week ago?
Yes.
Or so.
Yeah.
Following Julia Louis-Dreyfus is nerve-wracking.
Right.
And I apologize for stepping down to this level. She is one of my favorites. I am a Veep geek. I rewatch Veep all the time. She is a genius. I love her and adore her. I don't know her. I just love her and adore her. She's one of those ladies, I feel like we're best friends and I don't know her. So I am jealous that you talk to her, but I love that you do this. And I want to say thank you for raising money and raising awareness for the North Texas Food Bank. I love that you and I have North Texas and Dallas in common. I'm from there. You spent a large part of your life and you raised your kids there. And if you guys go online, if you go to Hall, you can just click on the link above and you can order the Craig's. Part of the proceeds are going to the food bank. And I thank you for doing this because obviously it's a very worthy and needy cause. So God bless you. Thank you. And by the way, thank you for the grape juice you keep producing because I am a huge fan.
You're wonderful. Thank you, Chris.
Here's to you.
Here's to you.
And now I'm going to take a moment and say my goodbyes. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye. Oh. Is that wonderful or not? Thank you, everybody. I told you it was going to be a special program, and it certainly is. We've got many wonderful programs coming up. Be sure to follow us here at Hall Wines. The wine that we've been drinking today is Craig's. 10% of the proceeds of the sales of that wine for the whole rest of the month are going to go to the North Texas Food Bank. So get yourself some wonderful wine. Link is in the bio. Get yourself some wonderful wine and help a wonderful cause as well. Thank you so much for being with us today. I look forward to seeing you. We're on next week. We're on every week with wonderful programs continuing to come up. And in the meantime, stay healthy and sip up.